Good evening to you all from all the corners of Soweto, Gauteng, South Africa, and all the hinterlands of Africa. Welcome to Sakumzi restaurant, where you can get traditional South African food, soul food. Welcome to the Sello Makeka Foundation Father and Sons Conversations on GBV during the 16 days of activism for no violence against women and children. Yes. Come for food for thought. This is where you should be. Food for your spirits. Our spirits has been pulled hither and thither by the scourge of gender-based violence. Fellow brothers and sisters, fathers and mothers, uncles and aunts, young men and women, this is Talking Cure. Talking Cure for us to reflect. Talking Cure for fathers to start owning up, taking responsibility and accountability. Like our Facebook pages of the official Sello Makeka Foundation and the Sello Makeka official page. Yes, and follow our hashtags, Sello MKN_sons, changing attitudes. Sello Makeka_sons, change is possible. Sello MK_sons, do good to be good. Commit daily to changing your behavior. Commit daily to being a birthday for a better man that you want to be, that you aspire to be. We are doing nothing else but sowing the seeds of the possibility of change, sowing the seeds of healing, sowing the seeds of ending gender-based violence. As always, I am with my sons, and we have our visitor, Mr. Rams Mabote, my brother.
Rascalo.
How are you? Hey man, I am here. I am
always
here.
Good to see you.
I guess he's as Singali
as
you know, guys. This is my son Neo Zahai, my eldest, and that is Lindo Makubo, the fourth. I don't know how many I have, but I do have. You know.
Gentlemen, good to see you.
You know, one thing that I always say that when they ask me how many children do you have, I always say it is 6 that I know.
It's a fair answer.
It's a fair answer.
Very fair answer.
You know, but the truth of the matter, we are dealing with a serious issue, Mibram.
Yeah.
We are dealing with gender-based violence. Me and my boys, we've been handling all kinds of conversation, different kinds of conversations, but most importantly, at times even confronting things that have affected us personally.
Yeah.
But here today, we are talking about boys to men. And I know you have a program of sorts.
Yeah.
Tell us, my brother.
Let me start by saying congratulations on this program.
Thank you.
You do not know, I'll tell you this much, you do not know how important this is.
Yeah.
And you probably won't know because it probably will outlive you. Because the problem we're dealing with is much huge than whatever we can do in 16 days, probably is much bigger than 16 years.
Yeah.
So it will completely outlive you, this seed that you're planting today. So to you and your sons, well done. Thank you very much for this.
No, thank you. Thank you, my brother. Thank you.
So the program is called Future Kings.
Yeah.
And it's a program run by the Rams Mabote Foundation.
Yes.
But the foundation is never in the forefront. We use the program as the lead.
Okay.
And all it is really is a program to say, where exactly does the problem lie? If the problem of chauvinism and gender-based violence and toxic masculinity exists, then we have to nip it in the bud.
Yeah.
And for me to nip it in the bud, we must start with somebody who has not even started.
Yeah.
So the idea is to go to teenage boys while they're still teenagers, before they get to where you and I are.
Yeah.
Because the truth of the matter, by the way, and I know you would agree with me, is that you and I are probably doing the best to reverse to a small extent, the horrible stuff that we've done. So it's better to catch them before they get to what we did before we are where we are today.
Absolutely.
So the program is really school-based. We go to young boys, and it's to talk to them, to have conversations that you have. To talk different narratives than the narratives that you and I had. The narratives that said, the narrative that said, no, she must sleep with you because you know, it's different narratives that we try to have with them. We take them to camps, and I call them modern day initiation schools.
Right.
Get these boys to initiation schools and start making them think differently. And it's small things like decision making. Example I always make about decision making is that it takes you 5 seconds to save yourself from 5 years of embarrassment or a lifetime of embarrassment. 5 seconds.
That's a good one.
If you stopped 5 more seconds before you took a decision, you could just change your life forever. But we don't. And the young men are not told to do that. They're told, no, you gotta act now. Because Now, road rage, I always make an example about road rage. When somebody wants to cut you in thick traffic, how much time do you think you lose if you let them through? I don't think anything more than 3 seconds. But what do? We fight. The next thing, somebody's dead.
Fly in the air.
So it starts somewhere with a 13-year-old boy that you say to, it's not necessary. Drop the ego. Those are the conversations we have at Future Kings.
Okay. Wow. Gentlemen.
I think now with what he's saying, which he started at a teenage age, I'm recalling the time when you said you wanted us to come and stay, because Mngolisi came to stay with you when he was 14, right? And that you wanted us at an earlier age because you had seen that to a certain extent, at that age, like you started formulating opinions for yourself, you know. How would you basically handle that? Maybe if you found a young man somehow who has been in an environment where he's just adapted to it like that.
So it's great when you have your dad and you can go in and live with him, or you already live with him. But that's not the be all and end all. The truth of the matter is that, and we all know it, at my age, every young man around me is my son. I've got a responsibility over them. But the first thing I always argue is that if I find you on a particular path, even if it's a path that is not righteous, and it's not for me to judge whether a path is righteous or not, but for the purposes of this conversation, let's say, I'll better reach you if we create a relationship than me trying to dictate to you, than me trying to preach onto you. Let's create a relationship. Let me hear you. Let's become friends. Before we went on air, we had a little chat. We created a scene of me walking down the street and meeting people. And so we spoke as equals. We cannot do that. We have to speak as equals. I can't walk in here and say, that's where we lose it. And we as older men, we have to stop being like, I have to consciously stop being like my father, who up to today cannot speak to me like an old man. He still treats me like I'm 13.
I think, just to pick up on what Lindo said, I remember, when we had, in fact, you talked about Kolisi coming to stay with me. And by the time Kolisi came to him, he came to stay with me at the age of 14. And what I discovered was 14 was too late. Okay? But anyway, and that's why I wanted you guys even a little younger, And then, in Kolisi at 19, I discovered, the brewer, got 4 girlfriends, And by that time, I've got 4 children with 4 different women. And as they say, the apple, it doesn't fall far from the tree, And I realized, there's danger. But I sat him down and we had a conversation. And ultimately, the biggest question that I asked him was, when you were growing up, didn't you wish that I was there? And bro, I've been present all throughout his life. And then at 14, he comes, and by that time, the presence I'm talking about is part-time dad. Weekend dad, school holidays dad. And I said to him, didn't you wish I was there? Tears welled up in his eyes. And I said, you see? And I thought I was being better than my father who never raised me. Do you realize what now? You've got to break now another cycle. You know what I mean? The sad part was, that he passed on. And I remember wishing for, and maybe I shouldn't have had this conversation, because when he passed on at the age of 28, he didn't even have a child. But what I learned from his friends was that those conversations that I had with him, they made sense.
A lot.
You know what I mean? Thank you, me bro.
Thanks. First of all, I'd like to pay my respects to Datem Mavi, Mam Domantu, and Datem Fokeng Leoslin, the Lentate Party. And Datem Swaledi, Limimam Swaledi, for the wisdom I've got from them, all of these people, and giving me a kickstart as well on my business, Kintatem Swaledi, who passed away, and may his soul rest in peace. And, coming to you, sir, and that the Mabote, ne?
Rems
Mabote, that the Rems. I just went on Google just to check, some other things, and I saw, find kings, sons to kings, boys to kings. So I just want to hear from you, the definition of being a king, because you cannot raise me from a boy and you want me to be a king. Hey, I'm not a king. I'm not from the royal. You understand? So can you define that kingdom?
So until history got distorted, and kings became people who took from us and we bowed to them. Originally, royalty were people who served society. They were picked by their own society to lead them, and they would serve that society. So kings serve. They don't get served. They work for society. And service is one of the pillars of future kings. We teach young people to serve their society, because you're a better person when you serve others. You don't get better when people serve you. You actually get an inflated ego when people serve you. But the minute you serve other people, you become such a better human being yourself. So to move from a son to a king, it's like that. It's a flip thing. It does not even need a miracle. It's just to change your mindset of saying, what am I here for? What am I going to be remembered for? So I'll tell you, we all know this man. We've all seen him. Well, you guys have not seen him on stage. I saw him on stage before he became a popular television star. I'm not going to, I'll remember those things. But I'm telling you that history is going to remember him for what we're doing now. Because it's bigger service. And I'm not demeaning what he did professionally.
Yeah.
So as we serve, we write our own legacies. And that's what kings do.
Wow.
Well said.
Wow. But actually, as you were saying it, that kings serve. And, I want to bring it to which is, it's an analogy that every man uses. I'm the head of the household, And if there's anything physiologically on the body, the head serves the body, And I always say that if ever we are going to claim that we are the heads of our households, our heads never go on leave, and our heads don't basically, what's the word? But can shirk their responsibilities. But I converted my data to airtime. And your head doesn't shake its responsibility. It doesn't say, hey, I couldn't patala maintenance, which is something that I have done. Hey, I couldn't, take care of you. It doesn't do that. And so if we are going to take that analogy seriously, and become the heads and become the kings, because the kings serve. You know what I mean? So if you are the head of your household, you are the king of your household, you serve your household.
You serve.
But how do we, it doesn't only end at home. How do we take this narrative? And like, for instance, the narrative that that Lindo got, how do we take it and make it a narrative that continues even in society?
It is pretty hard, and I don't have instant answers to that.
Yeah.
It is made harder by the fact that there are other priorities. A society that lives in reasonably, maybe that's not the word, that lives in relative poverty for most people.
Yeah.
So food on the table becomes priority, and therefore we think the other stuff are not important. We then relegate the other stuff. Now here's the funny part: when the other part that we think, are not important are relegated, we continue in perpetual poverty. Because if we don't deal with those things, we don't become better people to then make us deal with the economics and the politics and stuff like that. Beasts don't learn to become better for as long as they destroy.
Yeah.
If there's room to destroy, you're not going to stop being a beast. You're going to continue doing it. And therefore you'll ask yourself, but why is there no prey? But you destroyed the environment that gave you the prey. So how do you get the prey? So I say that, and I had a little chat with you before we got in here.
Yeah.
But I look at 16 days of activism, and I wish we had a 10-year program.
Yes.
Not a 16-day program. Because if we dedicated ourselves 365 days for 10 years and say we're going to run a program for 10 years, then we're going to see the results much quicker.
Yeah.
When we can reach more schools and reach more youth clubs, when we can invite these gentlemen to start spending time with people younger than them and tell them their stories, that not growing with my father does not make me a worse man than I could have been.
Yeah.
But you have a chance to become better because of circumstances are different. Then the wheel starts rolling. When we bring young men to a football match, and we say to them, when things go wrong in that pitch, storming the pitch and chasing the referee is not the answer. Yeah. It may not seem like a big thing. Yeah. But the problem is that we celebrate. I take my son to the stadium and he hears me say, hey, we're not referee.
Yeah.
I can't say it now because it's a family program, the ways that we use. And I've planted that seed and we live it. Of course, he sees me in December, November to December doing 16 days. The dad is good for 16 days. But of course, it goes back to the normal dad who swears, he screams, or attacks, who threatens, who does things. So I'm saying it's a program. To take it out to society is not going to take one activity. It's not going to take 16 days. It's certainly not going to take 4 men around this table. But it's going to take men. I repeat this and I'll repeat it until the day I die. Gender-based violence is a man problem, not a woman problem. Doesn't matter how much money you put into women development. If you do not deal with the source, which is men, you're not going to deal with gender-based violence.
Gentlemen, your thoughts on what Brarems have said?
I like the way you just said, even about the, those boys who didn't have the opportunities and stuff like that, and OT, they can be better. Understand? Because what I've realized is that you get born in this world, and the reason why you're born in this world, there's a purpose why, because that's an opportunity to be. You understand? Whoever you want to be. There's so many women who've got miscarriages. There was a reason why they're not supposed to be in this world. So since you're born in this world and you're existing, that existence itself, it's a phenomenal thing that could happen to your life that you should respect. So some other people, they choose bad things, which I also have, and which I'm sure to me, I didn't deserve to be in this world. It's because of you're a child. You've got a child of a mind you've got a mind of a child. So to actually have such a program, you understand, you are helping a lot of people. Because I also struggled when I was 14 years now, I was struggling with So you end up like taking or thinking bad thoughts or making wrong decisions because of now you have that thing that is eating you inside. So having such programs, I'm glad that they exist now, and through you, Mr. Raps, so it's a good initiative. So big ups to that.
Let me help. I just formalized it.
Yes.
There are people who've been doing it for years, like Date Mutsoaledi. He may not have written it down, but he did exactly what I was doing with you. So many people are doing this thing. I just formalized it, really. Yes, I'm not demeaning the recognition of that you're giving me, and thank you for that. But I'm saying there are many people who are doing amazing stuff. They may not have the name that I have or the platforms that I have to do what I'm trying to do.
I definitely commend you for that, because I think the transition from being a boy to being a man is a very tough one. Number one, I think because when you grow up as a boy, you basically loved merely for existing. And now when you start to transition, now it's more about what can you do, what can you provide, that the dynamic shifts. So I think having a mentor there, through that phase makes it much easier.
And something just came up, as well. There are situations where you find a family and there's no father, and this boy feels like now, I have to help mom, meaning your partner and something, and they end up like by Georgia. And then you just accept it when as anyway, and then we end up taking responsibilities of a father at a very young age. And when you get there, you're messed up, so you haven't been a child at your age.
And this is where, as you say, it is not a woman problem. It is a man's problem. Because again, now, it is a man who has created that problem. Exactly. By not knowing and understanding the responsibilities that they have. And you're right about that now, You really are right. The mistake also, even for me, that for 20 years I was never in your life. You know what I mean? That, somehow it makes me feel like I should, hide myself in shame.
In fact, you're lucky that he's here.
Exactly.
You could have destroyed him by just being absent.
And the thing is, the truth of the matter is that we're still dealing with the effects of that 20 years of absence. And like I was telling you with his brother who passed on, who basically I was present, but there was still some damage. So, and it goes to show, what we need to have. We can't be part-time dads And we have to really think very carefully how, when we go and even engage in sex, what does that mean? You know, and I mean, as I was asking you the question, I realized for a party, I have the answer.
Yes.
Because if each and every family takes, and the men in those families takes the responsibility of teaching accountability, I remember when you are a child, you're doing something wrong. Whose child is this? Because they expect for and now, if ever it is happening sort of like in a very broad spectrum, and on one hand, we cannot actually even say we can't reach out because technology does it. On one hand, we are having a conversation, we are live on Facebook. Yeah. So information is at the fingertips, for the thumb generation. I had to say this one. So at the end of the day, how do we basically take the things, and this question, Brad, is actually aimed to you, because these conversations that we are having, things that I'm saying here, we've had them in the countless conversations which you dreaded. When that when I call you into the sitting room, you know what I mean. Yeah. But how do we do that now? Take that conversation, which is aimed to build you, that you take it even outside.
Yeah, it's a very important question because
thank you.
Sometimes like having this conversation.
Yeah.
You may find sometimes we're sitting here, we're having a conversation and a serious one. And sometimes it depends on the state of the mind.
Yeah.
Where are you? Because you may find that so information sometimes you will grab there and there, and then make use of it in your own way. Because then I remember when you said until you have the opportunity to describe something in your own words, that's power right there. Because now you've understood and you understand it, that point, So on a daily basis, I do that. I talk to people, I heal people's hearts, and through the knowledge of my father as well, aiding mine as well.
Yeah.
And that it has made wonders. That's why I'm still standing here and sitting here talking to you. Because if it didn't make any impact, then definitely I wasn't going to be here.
Oh man, beautiful words. Lindo.
I think maybe with regard to those lectures, right? One of the reasons maybe that, you struggled with it so much.
Yeah.
I was just, just thinking in retrospect. And I think it's purely because, maybe in those conversations, where you're trying to reach me and trying to teach me things, you can't even responsibility. And I would be having conversations in my head, Uti, this man is not even paying maintenance money. He's going to try and teach me responsibility.
What right does he have?
Those are the things that literally echo in my mind. And the thing is now, they also, reinforced at basically at home. Uti, even at times where I try and not pay attention to it. But they would be brought up, Uti, you can't do this because what is your father doing? He's not paying school fees and and those things. No, you did.
Anyway, yeah.
So this is
exactly. But it was always his word, against Ilagama, and I think that tussle on its own, it caused a lot of damage.
I like that. I like that because if you look at society now, it's going to be very difficult for us to make better men when they look at us and say, but what right have you got? When you have destroyed so much.
Exactly.
And I even argue, when you have stolen so much from the fiscals, when you're so corrupt, when you're doing this and that, who are you to tell us? So we have a responsibility to be on the straight and narrow before we play big and come and lecture on other people.
You know, sorry to interrupt. But you know, I think also on that, what I remember Ubablo Iso.
Yes.
When you were having that conversation, and I just happened to hear when he said, you know, growing up, he used to judge his father, you know, on the mistakes that his father made. But when he reached that age of his father, he started realizing, oh, damn, this is actually why this man was doing this and whatnot, you know. So I think also with that, I somehow, like, I'm realizing some of the things and understanding why they had to happen the way that they did. You know, so yeah.
And there's this also a saying ukuthi indlela uyibuza kuba phambili. The thing is, for a person to advise about something else, definitely that person has seen ukuthi, okay, there's a void in this.
Yeah.
So let me just fix it because of we're not perfect.
Yeah.
You know, you're not perfect, I'm not perfect, we're all not perfect. So if a person learns from his own mistakes and talks to you about his mistakes, but probably directly or indirectly, he's actually giving you, he's furnishing you with knowledge that is immense, you know, and he's trying to build you to be a better person.
Yeah.
So take those wise words. That it doesn't matter whether they're actually spoken by whoever, but if it's something that can work for you, why not take it? You know,
it is cheaper to learn from other people's mistakes.
can you imagine?
It's more expensive to learn from your mistakes.
Than from your own.
Yeah.
Time is always never on our side.
Yeah.
You know, in the interest of time, 30 seconds each. You know, last words, brothers.
It is possible.
Yeah.
Those are my last words.
Yeah.
It is possible.
It is possible.
If we all work together, it is possible.
It is possible. Lindo, your last words.
I agree fully. And thank you for your initiative.
Thank you.
Yeah, you know, mine, I would say, you know, most of the time, don't deal with, actually stop displaying your talents and distinctions when dealing with men, because of sometimes you show things, you know, now good to others, and then to others, they're not, and they want to destroy you. So, Mina, Timer, you know, you're doing a good job, man. You know, yeah, big up to that. Yeah, you're doing a good job.
You're doing it.
Yeah, you're doing it. You're doing a good job.
No,
still do it.
You're still in the past.
I still
We're here.
We're here.
Thank
Okay.
you.